So I was hosting a clay workshop last week, and I wanted to find a cool way to show the attendees of the workshop the capabilities of clay, and I ended up finding a way to create personalized images for every attendee in the workshop automatically. So today I wanted to come on here and show you how I did it and how you can use the same to create personalized images for your prospect or the attendees of your event or for whatever purpose you see fit. So without further ado, let's hop into it. All right, so as you can see here, I am in the description of our workshop that I hosted last week, which by the way, I host these clay workshops every week if you ever want to attend and hop into one to watch something like this. You can see here that we have about 89 people who registered themselves as going, and all I wanted to do here was scrape the names and the emails of the people that signed up so I could then import them into a clay table. All I had to do for this was use the Clay Chrome extension, which is available on the Chrome store, and you can see that it automatically scraped the names and the emails of everybody attending this event. This is incredibly convenient because all I had to do was click Add to Workspace, and you can see right here that they populated into this clay table. The data that I had first was simply the name of the person and the email of the person attending. The next thing that I wanted to do was use a formula to split them into first and last name columns. This is just really helpful for future integrations, as you'll see in a second. So in order to do that, I just clicked Add Column Formula, and I said, get me the first word of the name, and clicked Generate Formula. And you can see here that it pops out their first name very easily. I did the same with the last name, and that's how I got these two columns. So next I had to find integrations within Clay that would allow me to find information about a person based solely off of their email. This can be a little bit more difficult because a lot of these are personal emails, but I was able to find a way to do it. So the first integration I used was the Snove.io Enrich Person integration, which all it requires is the email of the person. And you'll see that in some cases, it was able to provide us a ton of information on the person that signed up for my workshop. The only thing I was looking for was their LinkedIn, as you'll see in a second. So we were able to pop out their LinkedIn into this column right here. So if this first integration didn't work, I wanted to use a second integration to try to find information on a person based on their email. In order to do that, all I did was use another integration called MixRank, typed in their email address, and in the conditional formula, I said only run if this one didn't return any results or is empty. Once that ran, we were able to find even more information about some of these people, including their LinkedIn, which was able to be found right here. And I just mapped out this URL into this column here, and you can see we've got quite a few LinkedIns here as well. Lastly, I used an Apollo integration to do, again, the same thing as the first two, but if none of the data was found in the first two integrations, we would just go to the third one with Apollo. And once again, it was able to find quite a few LinkedIns for the attendees of our event, and we were able to aggregate all of these LinkedIns into a final column so we could use it for further enrichment. This column, again, just required using a formula integration where I'd click Add Column, Formula, and then an if-then statement pretty much saying print LinkedIn 1, but if that's empty, print LinkedIn 2, and if that's empty, LinkedIn 3, and it was able to get all of these LinkedIn URLs into a column. So now that we have all these LinkedIn URLs, what are we going to do next in order to make a custom image? That seems pretty far away from where we're at right now, which is just finding somebody's LinkedIn. So next what we want to do is use the Enrich Person integration within Clay, and all it requires is the LinkedIn URL of the person. Once that integration runs, you can see here that we have a ton of information about this person, but the thing we're looking for most specifically is their LinkedIn URL. Once we pop that out into a column, it is time to get started with our custom images. So in this video, I used a software called Dynapictures. Dynapictures is pretty much a software that allows you to create custom images based on a template you've created in the past. So you can see in this example, I have a little frame that says Clay User of the Month with this ornate, beautiful backing. And you can see in the middle, I have a picture of a cat. So you might think, what is this picture of a cat doing in the Clay User of the Month? Obviously, cats are great Clay users, but that's not the reason. The real reason is that this cat is actually a custom image element that you can throw into this section right here. It allows you to pretty much put an image here over and over and over again to create custom images at scale. I have created this Dynapicture image, but how am I going to create a custom image using Clay and Dynapictures? So that is where Zapier comes in. If you don't know what Zapier is, it is pretty much just an automation platform that allows you to set up different automation workflows using several tools at once. In this case, I wanted to send this LinkedIn picture URL to Zapier So then it could create a picture in Dynapictures and then send it back to Clay. So the first thing I had to do was select a method for this API. And there are pretty much two that you need to remember, which is get and post. Get receives data from a technology and post sends data to a technology. In this case, we wanted to send information to Zapier. And so we wanted to use the post method. Next is the endpoint section of the API integration. And so that is pretty much where you're sending this data to. So what I had to do in order to find the endpoint was to create a workflow in Zapier and then go to the test section and find the webhook URL, which I then copied. I put that into this endpoint section, and then we're on to the final part of the integration, which is the body. The instructions for the body is right down here, but essentially what you have to do is define variables and then map out a different column with each variable. So the person's name was with the name column, the email was with the email column, and of course the image URL was with the image URL column. And after that, all I had to do was save this and send one over to Zapier to test it out. So you can see here, once we sent that test record to Zapier, it was able to capture all this information from Clay, and we're able to go on to the next step. Luckily, Zapier has a Dynapictures integration, so we were able to create an image using Zapier right here. All I did was click Create Image, Continue, and then for each one of the sections that I wanted to define a variable to, all I had to do was throw in the thing that we received from Clay. In this case, it was super easy. We only had one image, as you remember, which is right here. And so all I had to do was throw in the LinkedIn URL into that image section right here and click Continue. After running a test, you can actually go to the generated images section to see if this worked out. And you can see right here, okay, it seemed to have worked. Awesome. And we can go back to Zapier. And the very last thing is that Clay has an integration within Zapier. So for the last step, we did a create record and table. And I created a new table called images within Clay. You don't want to do the same table. You want to create a separate table to send the images to. And after doing that, all I had to do was throw in the workspace, the table ID, and the view. And then in each column, just put in the different attributes. So the name that we got from Clay, the email we got from Clay, and then the image URL that we got from Dynapictures. And after that, we had to just publish the Zapier thing. And so after that, we are completely done. So how do we get these pictures into Clay? We just go right here, and whenever you want to send a picture to Clay, we'll do it right here. You click run, and after it's finished running, you'll see here that we have the 200, which means success. We go to our images section right here. And as you can see here, we have the custom images with profile pictures of the attendees of our workshop flawlessly pasted within our image section. So the reason I ended up sending the email in this situation is because I needed something to match to our original table. You have to think, in this table right here, we have the person's email, and in this table right here, we have the person's email, right? So we're able to get this target column, email, and then match it with the email in our original table. And after you run it, it'll find a match, and you can find every record attributed to that row in the table. So we have the name, the email, and the image URL. Of course, we wanted to take this one out, and suddenly all of our images are seamlessly placed into this table for us. And that is pretty much it. It was a lot of fun showing this to the attendees of the workshop. I thought it was a pretty exciting way to show off the insane power that Clay can have if you use things like Zapier and external APIs. In general, it's just a great way to stand out from all the other cold email people. If you're reaching out to prospects, a custom image is pretty dang cool to send to people, and you can now do so thousands at a time if you'd like. Feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions about this, or if you'd like this to be done for your company. Happy prospecting.